Oh, hi there, everybody. It is just after 7 o'clock and time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. And do the little YouTube dance. Like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And let's shit in the box. I have mentioned over the past couple of days that I've been playing Techtonica. Over the past couple of videos, rather. The past couple of videos? Yeah, I have been playing Techtonica for a while and enjoying the heck out of it. And the thing is that as I was playing Techtonica, it put me in mind of all of these other factory games that I played, of course. It reminded me of, well, being a 3D factory game, it reminded me of Satisfactory. And Satisfactory, in turn, reminded me of, well, Factorio was really, it was a great game. And I have never really completed the Space Age content for Factorio. And I was thinking about doing that. And then I got to thinking about Starfield, funnily enough. And I thought, I've never really built a factory setup in Factorio, or in Starfield. Obviously, I built a factory setup in Factorio. I've launched the goddamn rocket in Factorio. I have a surprising number of achievements in that game without even really trying, because they're just... It's like one of them's complete the game in X amount of time, and what the fuck? How do you even do that? I feel like that would rely on changing your settings so that things would be faster and easier. But anyway, I was realizing I've never really built a factory setup in Starfield, and I started working on that, and I just kind of looked around and said, well, what's the easiest thing I could do? And the easiest thing you can do is you can take silver and you can ship it to a planet with copper, and you can make zero wire. So I did that for a while, and I kind of looked at that, and then I looked around and I said, well, what else could I do? What could I ship the wire over for? And I found a planet that had antimony, gold, and copper on it. And I said, okay, I could ship silver to there, and I can make the zero wire, and then I can make semi-metal wafers. And I thought, didn't Vash Kawaii do a video about how to make like this incredible endgame manufacturing base? And he did. And I went and I was watching it, and I went, why is he doing all of this on Parima? I mean, the Indusite is only in one place in the galaxy. The Indusite is only on Katydid 3. And the Vitinium is only on Dakaran 7A. So he didn't have a choice on those. He has to get those from there. But why is he getting everything else in Parima? Except the solvent. The solvent comes from Kodos. Which, I looked into it. I was poking around and I was looking at different places that you could get solvent. Because I wanted to go in and kind of rework the whole thing and figure things out for myself and kind of go from first principles. And as I was doing that, I realized that we're really only talking about a total of 11 resources. 10 that are needed to manufacture the thing that we want, okay? Which is 9 inorganic resources. You need the Vitinium, you need the Indusite, you need the copper, the silver, the antimony, the gold, you need plutonium, you need uranium, you need cesium, and you need solvent. And then you need helium-3 to ship stuff around from system to system. And there's a lot of things that I was just kind of looking at and fitting together from, again, first principles, just kind of looking at it and going, well, the Vitinium has helium-3 on planet, but Katydid 3, which is where you get Indicite, you don't have any helium on that planet. Vash is shipping the helium in from Porrima. Why? I mean, there's helium right across the system on Katydid 1A. Why doesn't he just get the helium-3 there and ship it to? And I was thinking about it, and I realized that the reason he doesn't do that is because he already has a helium base that has to ship helium out. So he already has a base with helium. He may as well ship the helium out from there. That makes sense. But he had an entire base that was nothing but helium. He had like 3 bases that were nothing but helium. And I was looking at that and I was scratching my head and I said, okay, let's rework this from the beginning. And I was going through and I was looking at all of it and I just went, okay, the Vitinium has helium on site, so we don't need to worry about that. And the Indicite, we have helium on the other side of the system, so that's one base. And then the solvent, well, depending on where you get the solvent, I could not find a place to get solvent that didn't also need the helium brought in from off-world. I didn't find anywhere that had solvent and helium. I should probably look more. But I did find that there was solvent on Polvo, and then there was helium on Bindi, which is right nearby. And I was looking at that, and I was going, I could do that just to be different from what Vash is doing, because I don't have to do what Vash is doing, and I don't want to have anything in Porrima. And one of the things I was realizing was, once you are shipping anything on a base from out of system, that's your bottleneck. That's your bottleneck, because now you've got the time requirement and you've got a helium requirement. Similarly, if you don't have to ship anything in from out of system, shipping things in system is your bottleneck. Because as soon as you have to ship anything in system, you may as well just ship everything. You know, if you've got one thing that isn't on the same world with the other things, just ship them all to another base. It doesn't matter. Your bottleneck's your bottleneck no matter what. You're just going to have, it's just a cascade. And that cascade eventually reaches the end. And as you're building everything, you're going to let the cascade finish. It's going to take 3 minutes to get the next step done. And then you'll be ready for that step to immediately kind of take over. So I was looking at this and I was going over it, and I realized that almost everything you need is in Narian. But then when I started building shit in Narian, I realized you don't just need all of the stuff that goes into building your products. You need all the stuff that goes into building a base. So I went and was making a list of all of that. And it's really kind of horrifying how much shit you need to build a base. It honestly is. Because what I ended up with was, there are 12 different systems that you need to go to for unique resources. And I got to thinking as I was doing this, I was like, why don't I just centralize all of my resources? Why don't I ship all of the resources to, well, not to one base, but to one planet? Why don't I ship everything to one planet where all the bases are kind of close enough together that you can drive to them in the little vehicle, which I don't really need. If they're close enough to drive to in the vehicle, they're close enough to get to with the jetpack. I don't really need the fucking vehicle. you know. But people like it. I don't know why they like it. Something's wrong with them, I guess. It's like, what? Why did you want a moon buggy? I want a moon buggy. Dude, you have a jetpack like Boba Fett. What do you mean I want a moon buggy, you fucker? Jeez, these people, I don't understand. You have a jetpack like Boba Fett. That's awesome. Anyway, I was thinking about that, and I got to considering it, and I went, you've got to put up 12 bases all over the galaxy, and at least 11 of them need to ship their resource to another system, which means at least 2 more bases need to burn all of their links, sending helium to those bases. So now you're looking at 14 bases. And I haven't gone through and like looked at everything and gone, which of these have like helium on the base? I could check that actually. But the database is fantastic. I fucking love the database. It lets me look at stuff. Once you've been somewhere and looked at something, you can go there and you can look at it easily. I have located at least one place to get every single resource. And now all I have to do at this point is figure out what that final collection of bases looks like. And it's not going to be pretty. There's a lot of stuff, but I am finding stuff like Viral and Tazine are unique resources, but you only need those to build an advanced reactor. Okay, I can understand why you might want to build an advanced reactor, but I may as well just build 4 regular reactors. I can't think of a good reason that I need to build an advanced reactor. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Like, I do understand why you might want to build commercial mining rigs. Commercial mining rigs, probably a good idea. Those are going to rely on algemite drill rigs. And you're going to need algemite for those. You don't ever need algemite for anything else. So, if you just stick to the level 2 drilling rig instead of the level 3, you don't need that. Just like if you're going to be collecting gas, you need a substrate molecular sieve, which means you need a molecular substrate. That's a unique organic resource. There's the oh God, what is it? There's something else. I think it needs the Viral treated manifold. Well, Viral's unique. You don't need Viral. You just use the level 2 mines. Use the level 2 extractors. You'll be fine. You don't need that much. And I kind of see that going on all over the place in the outpost construction stuff. If you want to build the biggest and best and coolest thing, you're gonna need unique shit. Whereas if you want to build the most basic thing, you just need raw resources. And in between them, there's a level 2 option. And that level 2 option doesn't use unique resources, but it does need you to build shit in an industrial workbench. Well, it makes sense. I guess that's reasonable. That's sensible. You know how much of that stuff I could manufacture? I gotta make a whole bunch of notes on this. There's a lot of different things you could do. I was thinking about to go back once again to the idea of collecting all of the different resources in one place. You can only make 24 bases, max. And there's a part of the Terran Armada DLC that makes you build 3 bases in specific locations. So you only actually get 21 bases. And on top of that, like I said, you got to burn 12 bases for unique materials, and then you got to burn another 2 bases sending helium to them. So it's like now you've only got 7 bases left for all the rest of the resources. And one of the things I'm thinking is, you kind of have to multiplex the bases that you're forced to build in the Terran Armada DLC and figure out how to get more resources and ship those out, because those are going to provide you with X-Tech. Now, X-Tech is another resource that you end up having to collect. But I was looking at all this, and I was thinking about all this, and I was realizing that there are entire games built around like factory construction, and that's all you do. And they have better and cooler factory construction than Starfield. But Starfield does provide you with a whole lot of the gameplay elements of constructing factories within the game. And I think that's really excessively cool. I think it's really awesome that you have like this system in here. And it's kind of, some people may remember, David Shapiro once said, he posed what's referred to as the stamp collecting dilemma in game design, which is lots of people in your game would probably enjoy stamp collecting. But the people who enjoy stamp collecting will never interact with the people who don't. Should you have stamp collecting in your game? That's a hard question. Because what you're really talking about there is adding a second game to your game. And when you think about it, Bethesda do that all the time. They add another game to the game. Yo, dog, I heard you like games. So I put a game in your game so you can game while you game. They do that kind of thing all the time because there are shallow systems along the top of everything so you don't have to engage with it. I was watching somebody earlier today doing a video about Starfield, and they were saying how much they love Starfield. And they don't seem to enjoy any of the gameplay. They just like going to different planets and looking at them. That, I mean, I've always kind of enjoyed that too, but it was truly fascinating watching somebody who really doesn't seem to give a shit about any of the other aspects of the game. And I was just like, huh. Traveling from place to place kind of is like a whole game in itself. And as a whole game in itself, you could like just play that game if that's the only thing you enjoy. And I like that about Bethesda. I like the way that Bethesda games will let you play a game nobody else is playing and just kind of like do your own thing. You know, like in Skyrim, I have a tendency in Skyrim to hang around in Windhelm making potions. And then do a kind of circuit around the map where I go to Markarth, and then I go to Riften. And then I go back to Markarth, and I go back to Windhelm. And Then from Windhelm, is it from Windhelm? No, it's from Riften. Every once in a while, I will go to Riften, and I will go up to Solitude, and then I'll go back to Riften, back to Markarth, back to Windhelm. And I do this kind of little loop thing. And by doing that, I just never have to deal with combat at all. I can get insanely rich, and I can improve all of my skills, and I can get to a point where I can enchant items to the top level, and then I can just like finally go out from Windhelm and go, okay, I'm ready to do the adventure now. And the dragon attacks, and I one-shot him. And vampires attack, and I one-shot him. And an orc comes running up to me out on the road and calls me a milk drinker, so I one-shot him. And that's the thing that I do, is just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until I decide that it's time to go adventure. And when I decide that it's time to go adventure, I typically decide to go to the college at Winterhold. That's the thing I do at that point. And then I spoke out from the college at Winterhold. I go to the college at Winterhold, and I train with all of the various mages there. And I spoke out to what is it, Raven Rock, out in Solstheim, so that I could go and talk to what's his name, the dark elf Telvanni wizard out at the edge of the Naloth. Naloth, that's his name. This is not the way you're supposed to play Skyrim. It's just not. You know, it's a traveling merchant to wizard student. That's not the way you're supposed to play Skyrim. But I do it all the time. I think it's really, really fun. Well, I don't do it anymore because Skyrim has decided that it only runs on my main monitor, and I don't want it running on my main monitor. I want it running on my secondary monitor, because my secondary monitor is 4K, and it's very pretty. And Skyrim's like, nope, I want to run on your primary monitor. Well, I don't want you on my primary monitor. I'm sorry. So now I don't play Skyrim anymore. And it's very sad. But hey, it is what it is. It's not like I haven't played enough Skyrim. I've got like 12,000 hours of the goddamn game. But Fallout 4 is the same way. I just kind of hang out in Sanctuary Hills and just kind of do my own thing. I just kind of hang out there, and I buy shit from Carla when she comes through, and I build a little water empire, sell water, buy everything that I need, and just kind of build shit, and just hang out in Sanctuary for like ever, until I've like ramped myself up to this insane level. And then I go, ready to go adventuring now. And I go out adventuring, and a Deathclaw shows down, and I one-shot it. The same basic thing. I like it. This is one of the things. I watched an anime the other day called The Water Magician. It is very much the same sort of thing. This guy is like reincarnated in another world, and he goes, well, I'll hang out in the woods for 20 years being the best there is at water magic. And everybody's just like, you did what? You can't do that. What the fuck? So he's just like insanely powerful. And I'm like, that is exactly what I do. That's what I do in Skyrim. That's what I do in Fallout. That's what I've done in Starfield. I am level 364 in Starfield. And it's like, I don't need experience anymore. I just don't. Like, there's no point to it. And yet, at the same time, the little badge pops up, and it plays the little music and the sound effect, and it says, you just made a new level and got a new skill point. And I'm like, oh, boy! Because human beings are stupid. We are monkeys in pants. And when the little banner comes up, you show us the banner, and you play the music, and you say, "Number, go up," and the monkey jumps up and down, clapping his hands. We are machines made of meat, and if you push the right buttons in the right order, the monkey will dance. Happens all the time. That's just the way it works. That's the way we are. Our brains are running some very bad software, and the software has bugs, and the bugs can be exploited. I don't know. I don't have anything particularly salient or important to say about any of this. I'm just kind of sitting here marveling at it and going, this game's really fucking good. And I'm at the point in Starfield where I don't have to do anything, which gives me this incredible sense of freedom. And I feel like a lot of people, once you give them that degree of freedom, they have no direction. They can't pick a thing that they want to do. And I'm just like, I want to do everything. I have a massive fucking checklist. Okay? I have found every resource in the game. Well, now I need to go to every star system. I've already done that once. But now I need to go to all of the star systems, and I need to land on all of the planets, and I need to survey all of the planets. And I need to see if I can find, like, cool shit at all of the planets. And I'm only like halfway to that point. And just kind of cranking my way through all of that bit by bit by bit. Just kind of scraping away at the problem. And every so often I go, I'm bored. I'm going to jump in the Unity. And I jump in the Unity and everything resets. It goes back to zero. And I have to start over. This is my idea of a good time. A lot of people, it's not. And that's fine. I understand that. I am fucking weird. Okay? I enjoy things in games that other people don't enjoy. And I gotta watch out for that building my own game. Because it's like, I have been toying around with the idea of putting a deck building and crafting system into the game. Because I think it would be funny. That is not a good enough reason to put systems in your game. It is really not. So, no work has been done toward designing a deck building and crafting system for the game. And no work is going to be done on that unless I have a really cool idea. And then I'm just going to do a bare implementation of that idea, and I'm going to show it to somebody and go, is this fun? I think it's fun, but something is wrong with me. Can I get some confirmation here? I do trust myself in a lot of cases to look at something and go, are other people going to think this is fun? And that's an important skill, because I feel like a lot of people don't have that. I feel like a huge number of people, when they play a game, they are incapable of going, I don't like this, but somebody else would. And I think there's a secondary element of that. There are a lot of people who go, well, I don't like this, but somebody will. That's not always true. There are things literally nobody likes. Like escort missions. Nobody fucking likes escort missions. BioShock Infinite tried to send me on an escort mission. And they said, don't worry about it because you don't have to protect Elizabeth. I know I don't have to protect her, but I don't want to do an escort mission the whole fucking game. I just don't. BioShock Infinite gave me the very distinct feeling that I was playing a cutscene. It's a very pretty cutscene. It was very nice. It told a very interesting story. It was very well done. It was very well animated. It was very well rendered. But it was really it was the first really, like, smack you in the face form I had seen of the CD Projekt Red thing, where The game is not so much something you play as something you watch. I do not enjoy that. I don't like games that force you to watch cutscenes. I like games that it was Peter Molyneux who did this to start off with. It was in Fable, actually. It was in Fable that he first said, "Why don't we just like have the cutscene happen, and if the player wanders off, they wander off?" That was brilliant. I really liked that. And Bethesda have kind of grabbed that and said, we're going to do that too. I think that's really fucking cool. But that's very definitely something you need to think about when you're building and designing a game. You need to think about not just what you enjoy, what you think is fun, how you're going to play, but how somebody else is going to play. I think there's a tendency for a lot of people just not to think about that at all. And I think there's another tendency for people to think about that and go, oh, somebody will like that. These are both a bad idea. It's like somewhere in the middle, the truth lies. It's somewhere between live free or die and famous potatoes, as George Carlin put it. Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere between mine the most expensive resource you can and sell it, and collect every resource in the game at one location. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. I need to find that somewhere in the middle for me in Starfield, and I haven't found it yet. And I'm playing with it. I will find that spot eventually, but I don't know for sure where it is. And looking for it is fun. I enjoy looking for the right solution to the problem. That probably has a lot to do with why I'm a software developer, because solving the problem is enjoyable to me. Finding the solution is fun for me. And then implementing the solution is also fun for me. And then having the solution, I go, what's the next problem? Where's the next problem? I got to go look at the next problem. Because when you solve the number one problem on your list, all you've actually done is promoted number two. So, yeah, that's good. That's where I'm sitting. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about at the moment. Anyway, do a little YouTube dance. Like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Okay, bye.